What's up, everyone? Welcome on back to another episode of Golf on Tap. It's our final bet show for the 2023 U.S. Open, 123rd edition of the U.S. Open, of course. First time it's in Los Angeles in over 75 years. It's going to be an awesome tournament. Couldn't be more stoked for it to get underway and couldn't be more stoked to be back with our final bet show alongside my partner in crime, Joey Ricotta. You can find him on Twitter at Joey Knows Nothing. Jack Bushman, as always. Find me out on Twitter at Jack Bushman too. Joey, I hope you've done some deeper diving since we last talked yesterday. I know you had a lot to do to get a little bit of a better understanding of LACC and what type of players you exactly want to take a stab at. How are you feeling now that we're less than 24 hours removed from the beginning of the U.S. Open, my guy?
Yeah, man. I'm jacked, pun intended. Jack, I'm feeling good. I'm really excited for this tournament because I did get a little bit of a better understanding for this course, but I still feel like there's that uneasy feeling of not exactly knowing because we haven't really seen it. On yesterday's show, you had mentioned that it was the first time they're hosting that the LAC, as I was calling it yesterday, is hosting a professional tournament, first time in 80 years. So I really don't know exactly how this one's still going to play out, even though I do have a little bit of a better understanding. And then, of course, looking at your article from today, talking about how it was basically, and you had mentioned it yesterday too, but the Barranca, as everyone keeps talking about, just kind of trying to get an understanding for that, and then how the rough is playing leading into the bunkers too. I feel like that's going to be a big issue. Like maybe golfers will even want to be more so in the bunkers than they will just leading up into the bunkers. So that's something that I'm kind of looking at. I do have a little bit. It's kind of what I was talking about yesterday, I guess, where you led me in the discussion, talking about the course. And you're going to kind of talk about that a little bit more here today. But where you kind of got my brain stirring a little bit was talking about the tee boxes moving around a little bit, how that can affect things, and maybe dropping down to a little bit of a shorter tee boxes, but also expanding. We'll have to see how they play that, how they adjust it. The wider fairways, obviously, fast and firm Bermuda grass greens. Like I do have a little bit more of an importance this week on around the green. Of course, we talked about short game being really important. So putting, and then the driving accuracy. So you want distance, obviously, in tee to green game, I think. But Jack, there are, and even though I'm saying that, there were like different golfers that I took as outrights, and you'll hear them in a minute. But different golfers I took as outrights that I kind of went against the grain, even though I'm taking that type of a strategy. So my head's kind of all over the place, even though I did dive deeper. So I guess we'll get into it, Jack. What are kind of summarize, I guess, for us and for me, what we talked about yesterday, if anyone missed that show, as far as the course and the this tournament preview.
I think it's kind of funny because your confusion, and not just your confusion, but the confusion that's out there about Los Angeles Country Club, because we haven't seen it host a professional golf tournament in 80 years. We've never really seen it at all. People who are betting on the U.S. Open don't know anything about this course. So there are a lot of unanswered questions, kind of like what's going on in the golf world right now. No one's really exactly sure what's going on. And for all we know, like how we could be prefacing this and how we could be kind of shaping everything out, it could be completely different. Like there are so many unknowns about the golf world and Los Angeles Country Club that it's really intriguing. And quite honestly, it might not be the worst idea in the world to take a couple players from a couple of different strategies, because again, we just don't know anything for certain. But well, I guess I shouldn't say we don't know anything for certain. The one thing I do know is this course is just going to be so unique, and I think it's going to be one of the most enjoyable major championships in recent years because it is different, because it's not the same long, narrow. We need to keep lengthening the golf courses because guys are hitting it farther. That's the only way to make it more difficult. Gil Hans and the team that he had to restore this process made sure it wasn't a bomber's paradise by widening the fairways, kind of allowing for maybe some more players to have a shot with these baked out and firm fairways that are super sloped and have massive elevation changes that'll allow the ball to run more. But if you're still wayward, if you're still not accurate, if you're missing fairways, you're missing greens in regulation, you're basically leaving it up to the elements, right? Like greenside in particular, it sounds like it's going to be a nightmare. There's like hay and fescue. And you mentioned earlier, golfers might rather be in the bunker. They absolutely, no doubt about it. The bunkers aren't easy here, but they'd rather know what they have in the bunker. That I've heard reports of people losing their balls greenside because there's such thick rough that it can legitimately disappear there. So it's going to be an incredible test. I'm really looking forward to finally seeing it in action. But I do think it's going to be a beautiful venue that tests golfers, again, in different ways than we usually see at U.S. Opens and major championships. The tee boxes are going to be moving all around. The course is going to be playing at different yardages. All signs to me, with just so much unknown and so many moving parts at LACC and everything that's going on, I just really think you need to be well-rounded. That's the one thing that probably still has stayed the same. While Bombers have had a leg up, you still need to be well-rounded to win the U.S. Open. I think that's especially true this week because there's just going to be so much going on. There's going to be so many different shots and so many different shots and so many different shot shapes you have to hit. It really feels like it could be a very strategy-based U.S. Open as well. So for many different reasons, I'm really stoked for it to get underway tomorrow, man. And see exactly how it's going to play out against the best golfers in the world.
Me too, man. This is, like you said, the uncertainty is it drives up my interest. I like uncertainty.
Same.
I like uncertainty. I don't want to be able to know who's going to be at the top of the board every week. Not to say that we're going to get the winner every week, because we have definitely not done that every week this season. But we do have quite a few winners, and if we don't have a winner, we at least have someone within that top 10, it feels like. We could easily have all of our guys below the top 20 this week because we have no fucking clue how it's going to play. So that drives my interest up. We talked about the yardage. Like, it is very, very long, but it could play shorter, as we just talked about. I don't know, like, it's got a little of Augusta, a little Southern Hills to it, a little like Riviera.
Yeah.
Like you talked about the Australian Sandbelt type. Like, I guess if you were to make it a comparison, what's the most course comp you could make if you're making a course comp, even though it's got a little bit of kind of these different elements?
So I kind of have a frustrating answer for that. I wouldn't say it's too hard to say one course in particular because there are different aspects. I would say the fairways for sure are going to be like Augusta National, where there's strategy into where you're leaving the ball in the fairway. Obviously, the fairway is good, but there are certain sides that you want to be on in certain spots where you'll have a better angle at the pin, where it'll be more accessible, where you'll be able to take advantage and maybe go and pick up a birdie. That's kind of the strategy aspect to it. And I think that relates a lot to Augusta National, where you just don't get very many flat lies around the course. And kind of the same with the putting greens as well. I've heard they're going to be really undulated. They're going to have multiple tiers like you see at Augusta National, and you're not going to get many flat putts. So those are kind of the comparisons that I've heard. I've also heard Memorial Park, the host of the Houston Open course, is another long kind of similar structure to this, as well as Congaree, which we talked about yesterday, hosted the CJ Cup in the fall and the Palmetto Championship a couple of years ago that Garrick Higo won when the Canadian Open gotten taken off the schedule and they played it there. So those are kind of the four courses that I've heard the most. I have heard Southern Hills as well. I have heard Shinnecock, but I would say the fairways and the green complexes are pretty similar to Augusta National, and the all out, the overall layout of the course, I think, is similar to Congaree and Southern Hills.
Interesting. Okay. I wish I had all those numbers on how everybody did at that course now.
Well, we could go through it real quick. I mean, this is what we do for our final bet show, and it's not going to be as long as yesterday.
You want to do that while I talk a little bit here, just look at like what everyone's done. Maybe just this year. We'll just look at.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the leaderboards real quick.
At that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Barranca. there was a quote I had here. Players who miss the fairway. I don't even have the name of the person that had this quote, but I liked it enough to copy it down here. You know, you might not be able to tell. The idea is to let you have an opportunity to recover, I think, with the Barranca. But players who miss the fairway will need to assess whether to lay up or try to carry the ravine. Those who wind up in it might get lucky and have a good chance at recovery, or they might be in deep trouble. So, I mean, like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
It means good luck is literally what it means.
But do you take your chance? Like, stay away from it, just at all costs.
You don't want to be in the Barranca. You do not want to be in the Barranca.
No, so
that's where triples come into play.
Yeah, that's. I think we could see some. We're going to see a lot of that.
We're gonna see a lot of big numbers. I've heard there are birdies out there on certain holes, but there's a lot of big numbers. Whereas maybe at like an Oak Hill that we saw recently, it was a par and bogey course. This is more so like double, triple course because of all the trouble around.
Ian Happ's a big golfer. Ian Happ, the Cubs outfielder, he's a big golfer. His dad's really big into it. I want to say he did like grass work, and it was also like doing stuff with the USGA. I'm not sure exact title roles or whatever, but he was on the 670 The Score today. I was listening to it, and he said he really wanted to see a golfer win over par this week. I don't think that's happening, but like that would be super fucking cool. It has happened. I don't think it's happening this week, but hey, man, you never know. Like, as tough as this gets, I don't know if everybody struggles.
Hey, that's what we saw at Shinnecock, which I have the leaderboard pulled up here. Before we get into some of those courses and the results from this year, I do want to say my prediction, and we actually hit this really well at the PGA Championship. We had someone in here ask us what we think the winning score is. And by the way, if you're tuned into this, go and join us on YouTube. Go and ask us some questions or comment down below your favorite picks. If you're tuning in later in the show, let us know why you agree or why you disagree with our picks. We love getting input from all you golf fans out there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the winning score is going to be whoever reaches double digits. I think double digits is going to win this golf tournament. I think 10 or 11 or however many. I think there's going to be one guy that gets to double digits and he's going to win. That's my prediction for this course.
That's actually better, I think, than I'm thinking. Like, I was thinking -8.
I mean, we've seen -6 3 years in a row. I think there are more birdie opportunities here than other U.S. Opens, but like I said, there's a chance to make a big number too. I just have a feeling someone's going to get to double digits this year. I hope I'm wrong because I like more difficult. I'd love to see a Shinnecock Hills leaderboard where Brooksy wins it at +1. I mean, that's my bread and butter. I love the difficulty. I love guys clawing out for bogey and feeling like they won the hole. Like I love that stuff, but I don't think we're going to quite see that here this week.
Yeah, you're probably right. You've been spot on with these scoring. I mean, we both have kind of been in the same range. I usually go more broader, like between 4 strokes, so it's kind of like cheating. But
it'll be somewhere between like 3 and 10.
Yeah, right. It's like, dude, it's like the weatherman. In the wintertime one time I heard this weatherman. We were supposed to get snow the next day. He's like, yeah, we're going to get somewhere between like 3 and 18 inches. Like, dude, holy fuck, that is a big range, my friend. Like,
sounds like a good job.
You should just say 50% chance of rain every day too. Like,
yeah, might happen.
50-50. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? I'm always right.
Let me get into these leaderboards though, so we can move on to our best bets. So Memorial Park obviously hosted the Houston Open in the fall. That's where I hit an outright on my boy Tony Finau. He won that tournament. Just some other big names here at the top. Scotty Scheffler finished T9 there. Not a surprise. He finishes top 10 literally everywhere. Justin Rose was T9. Gary Woodland, your boy Killa Keith Mitchell was T9. Jason Day was T16. Wyndham Clark was T16 as well. Sahith Theegala was T22. It wasn't a very deep event, but those are kind of the big guys that finished at the top there. And then the CJ Cup at Congaree, which was also a fall event. Rory McIlroy ended up emerging victorious there. Kurt Kitayama, interestingly, was in second. John Rahm, T4. Tommy Fleetwood, T4. Sam Burns, T7. Another high-end finish for Jason Day, T11. Tom Kim, T11. Fitzpatrick and Hatton, T13. Victor Hovland, T21. So some big names popped up at the top of the leaderboard there. Shinnecock Hills, which, as I referenced, was the last time we saw a U.S. Open winner get the job done over par. A couple of familiar names there, too. Brooks Koepka at the top. Tommy Fleetwood was second. Dustin Johnson third. Patrick Reed fourth. Tony Finau fifth. Xander sixth. Hatton sixth as well. Matthew Fitzpatrick was T12 there. And then the last one I'll get into is the PGA Championship last year. Justin Thomas obviously defeated Will Zalatoris in a playoff, and poor Mito Pereira gagged it away on the 72nd hole. But that is an interesting name there, Mito Pereira, who's been ball striking well. Cam Young was T3. Tommy Fleetwood, again, has been popping up on like all of these. He's T5.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, that's very frustrating that I can't do it. I refuse to do it.
So Fleetwood's name has popped up a lot. Fitzpatrick was T5 there as well. Fitzpatrick's name has popped up a lot. Even your boy Hollywood Hoagie's popped up a couple of times. Xander a couple of times. Rose and Hatton a couple of times. So, yeah, that's probably what I'd say is the players who have had success there. Tommy Fleetwood might be the one that stands out the most, along with Tyrrell Hatton, Justin Rose, John Rahm, Matt Fitzpatrick. Yeah, so just kind of some interesting info there from some courses that have drawn comparisons to Los Angeles Country Club leading up to this week.
Kind of intrigued by Kurt Kitayama now. Again.
You always are. I'm intrigued by Tommy, but I just can't bet him at 45-1 in a major.
So you said Kitayama, that was the CJ Cup, right?
Yeah, he finished behind Rory at the CJ Cup. And that was, so now that Kitayama won an elevated event, we saw him finish, I believe it was runner-up at the Scottish Open last year. He finished runner-up at the Mexico Open last year behind only John Rahm, and he finished second at the CJ Cup behind only Rory McIlroy. So maybe we should have seen that win in a big boy event coming from Kurt Kitayama, because there was proof there that he could hang with the big dogs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that we didn't see it coming, though, right? Like, we were on him or talking about him almost every other week.
We were. It was just the problem was Scotty and John were winning everything.
Right. And that could still be a problem this week. So
very well could be.
With that said, though, Jack, any other kind of final thoughts here, or even like about these past leaders, winners, the course, anything like that before we actually get to it? Let's get to it with our final picks.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just really stoked to see how LA Country Club, I shouldn't call it. There's been some upset people in the golf community about calling it LA Country Club. It's either Los Angeles Country Club or LACC, I've heard. It's not LA Country Club. So my bad if I offended anyone out there with that one. But finally,
they're going to really hate me then.
Super excited to lack. Yeah, they're not going to be happy with you. But super excited to see this thing in action come tomorrow, man.
Me too. Yeah, they don't like the lack then, that's for sure. But let's get to it, man. I'm excited, and I'd be more excited if we win another outright. It's just the name of the game. That's four
majors in a row. Just for those who didn't tune in yesterday, Joey hit Cam Smith at the Open and John Rahm at the Masters. We both were on Brooks Koepka at the PGA Championship. So while some of these little dog events haven't really gone our way necessarily, we've been doing pretty well at the majors. So hopefully we can keep that riding, man. I've never won a U.S. Open outright, so hopefully this will be the first this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's what better time than now?
And that just reminded me, sorry to interrupt again, of the pure heartbreak that the U.S. Open cost me last year when I had Scotty Scheffler and Will Zalatoris, and they both finished fucking T2, one shot back of Matthew Fitzpatrick, and it just absolutely broke my heart. I had so many major heartbreaks last year. Rory at the Open, blowing it to your boy Cam Smith, who just went unconscious on the back nine. Love to get a winner this week after the U.S. Open did me dirty at the Country Club last year.
Yeah, that was kind of bullshit, dude. I had Mito. Was that last year? Yeah.
Yeah, you had Mito at the PGA. Yeah, we had some heartbreaks last year, man. We had some absolute heartbreaks. Now that
hardcore, dude. Hardcore heartbreaks. And that's why, you know what?
We're back for revenge this year, bitch.
We're due, man. We're fucking due. We're not even due. We're just doing it.
Yeah, baby.
We've been doing it. So let's do it. I think starting at the top of the board makes sense, and that's what everyone should do, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and start with the top of the board. We'll just say 1 through 5 for your favorites. Like we'll start 6. I think it's 6.5 to 1 is Scotty Scheffler, and then 10.5 to 1. Yeah, if this is taking me a little bit to get through these odds, apologies, because my Bet Rivers app just kind of like crashed on me. Shout out to our sponsors though, Bet Rivers. Go to betrivers.com, enter the promo code on tap to get an up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code on tap for an up to $250 deposit match. What are you waiting for? It's free money. Go get it. betrivers.com. So that said, the enhanced odds, that's only what we're using. We're not using the regular odds. They're giving us the enhanced odds. As we were talking yesterday, we didn't see any enhanced odds, but either they were listening, or I don't even know if we mentioned it on the show, or they were just like, yeah, we're gonna kind of slow drag you until we get closer to the tournament, and then we're gonna pop them up on.
I think it was a sneaky move by Bet Rivers, not to call out our sponsors here, but no enhanced offers all week, and I'm sure they knew a majority of people were going to get their bets in by Monday and Tuesday. So, on Wednesday, let's go ahead and throw out our enhanced offers out there. I'd avoid Bet Rivers.
Yeah, because then that way they know they're going to beat the market, right? And then they're going to get more bets, and everyone's trickling in towards the last minute. As kind of we are. I don't really like to bet too far in advance with golf. I don't know about you, Jack. Like, I do a little bit, but there's not. Yeah, I think it's the best time. You get more of a feel for it the more research you put in. That's how I've always felt, and I found the most success doing that, because remember how long ago I bet on Tom Kim to – was it the Masters? I think it was the Masters. Yeah, I bet on him for a future, and then I lost value. Like, dude, fuck that. No more futures. I mean, not no more.
The future market is non-existent anymore for the most part, unless you catch a real rare one.
It's just not good. I would actually be curious though what Jordan's, not Spieth, Justin Thomas would be in certain markets right now though.
Could be an opportunity.
I would be curious there because he has, what did you say yesterday? The best number that we've seen since he's won a major?
Yeah,
So I'm curious about him. But, all right, enough of that. Scotty Scheffler, 6.5 to 1. John Rahm, 10.5 to 1. Brooks Koepka, 12 to 1. Rory McIlroy, 15 to 1. And then Patrick Cantlay is 17 to 1. Those are your top 5. We're not going to list off every single name on the board like we pretty much did yesterday, but for the top 5, I think it makes a lot of sense. Anybody you got to here?
Yeah, good. You can make good cases for each and every one of these guys at the top. John Rahm, 11 to 1, snagged it at FanDuel yesterday before it went away, was where I ultimately elected starting my card. And look, it absolutely scares me to death to pass on Scotty Scheffler, knowing what he's been doing with his ball striking, and knowing if he loses just 2 or 3 strokes putting, he's probably going to win this thing. If he hits it to tee to green, like he's been for the past couple of months now. But I do think John Rahm, and the way that he drives the ball in particular, long and accurate, I think that combination is, obviously that's preferable, but I really do think that's going to be a big time combination this week. And John Rahm has that. He's an absolute mover of the golf ball, still putting up incredible tee to green numbers of his own. The problem is Scotty Scheffler is just doing otherworldly things right now that people aren't really giving John Rahm necessarily the credit that he deserves. And I almost feel like just because Scotty's been so good that John Rahm, I mentioned this in my article, for a guy with 4 wins in a major already this year, I still feel like the hype isn't that big around him right now. And
it's not. It's all Scotty, it feels like.
It is. And where has he done his best work his entire career and this season? It's the state of California. And look, I know Los Angeles Country Club is different from the Genesis, is different from those types of courses, but different than Torrey Pines, where he won his 2021 U.S. Open. But look, all signs for me still point to John Rahm for what he can do tee to green, and also how good his short game has been in major championships. I know there's been some shaky putting performances the last couple of weeks, but historically at the U.S. Open and in majors, he's been fine there. He does have a reliable short game. I think he just fits far too well at this course and is an absolute California killer. The 2021 U.S. Open, he's won 5 of his career 25 starts in the state of California.
Sheesh.
Won the Genesis this year, won the American Express, was in contention on Sunday at the Farmers before shooting 2 over en route to a T8 finish. His first career PGA Tour victory occurred in California. I mean, he is just a California killer and is as steady as they come in all aspects of his game. I know the results haven't been necessarily as good as he wants them, or probably the bettors would have liked them to be in order to back him again this week. But I see no reason why Jon Rahm shouldn't have a resurgence this week. So I started my card with Jon Rahm at the top, and just for the sake of, I need other people in this card, and there's other people I like further down the board. So he was the only one I could get to here at the top of this top 5.
California love. Yeah, man.
It.
You kind of talked about the little weaknesses he's had lately, though. I think poor putting performance, obviously, at Memorial. But, dude, love him. Love Jon Rahm. It gained 9.6 strokes on approach at Memorial. I don't know, man. I am skipping the whole top 5.
Wow.
Just going to be blunt about it. Skipping the entire top 5. But if I did have a bet, it would be Rambo. Just going to say that. So, yeah, do with that what you will. And I know, Jack, since you're on him, I'm rooting for you, man. I really am. If I'm not now, there you go. Bet Rivers app just timed out on me. Very, very nice.
I can take it over. That's cool.
Yeah, what's after? Yeah, you go ahead with the odds, and we'll just kind of talk about it.
So we can just go through, since we're just looking at Bet Rivers, we can go 17 through 40 here. That includes Patrick Cantlay, Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, Spieth, Hatton, Homa, Morikawa, and Cam Smith. I'll let you go first here. Who do you got out of this group? Because if you're not starting at the top, you got to have someone in here. This isn't, scrub events, the U.S. Open, baby. Who you got in this range?
Yeah. Fuck what you heard. It's what you're hearing. Listen. It's what you're hearing. Listen. X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you. Xander Schauffele, 20-1, plus 300 boost. That's what I got at DK. So 20-1, Xander Schauffele. Actually, it might have been 21-1. Yeah, what's he at right now? I think on DK, whatever
18.
It was. So plus 300. So 21-1 actually. Reasons why I can't give you any better stats than what Jack did in his article, his outright bets article. And as we talked yesterday, he was the first golfer I was drawn to just looking at this, eyeballing the major. 7 career wins, none this year, and no majors yet. I think he does it this week, though. 6th best odds on the board. But looking at Data Golf's model, they think he has the 4th best chance to do it. So, yeah, man, I kind of want to lean that way. Make sure your VPN service hides your IP address, though, when you're watching this weekend, because it's going to be an X-rated movie, and you don't want that showing on your browser history. So let's go. X gonna give it to you.
I'm on Xander Schauffele as well. He has been knocking on the major door for far too long, and like I said in my article, I really find it hard-pressed to believe there's going to be a better opportunity for Xander to get it done than here at LACC. He's a California guy, grew up in California, went to San Diego State. Obviously, like I mentioned, this is a different California course, but I did reference how I think a well-rounded golfer is going to end up winning this thing. And Xander is quietly one of the most well-rounded golfers in the entire world. I mean, the numbers that he's been putting up, I know for 4 rounds, he's had some issues here as of late. Trust me, as someone who's been backing him pretty consistently for the last month, nothing frustrates me more than when Xander goes and shoots a 77 in the first round of the Memorial or whatever it was. It's like, dude, what are we doing out here? But if he can just find a way for that first round to be steady, I think he's going to be in there at the end. He has an immaculate U.S. Open history where he's only finished outside of the top 10 once in 5 career starts. The numbers are just off the charts, and just how good he has played in majors for someone who hasn't won it yet. I referenced this in my article. He's finished inside the top 20 in 5 consecutive major championships, and he's only placed outside of the top 20 7 times in 24 career major starts. His track record at U.S. opens include a T14, T7, T5, T3, T6, and a T5. So for many different reasons, it feels like this is a perfect homecoming opportunity for Xander to finally get that first major victory of his. It's long and overdue, and honestly, if it doesn't come this week, man, it's going to be tough to see when he's going to be getting one in the near future for me.
I love it, man. Yeah, those are crazy numbers right there. So I think the hype surrounding Vic and Xander, totally understandable. I just trust Xander way more to get it done sooner. Like I know Vic just won, right? The floor though, to me, with Xander. Yeah, I'm ready, dude. I'm so ready for Xander to do this. I think it's time.
Funny enough that you bring that name up. I'm on Viktor Hovland as well.
Are you? Okay. I guess we did talk about that a little bit yesterday, but I didn't know if you had locked that in yet. I don't think you did.
Yeah, I also used the boost to get like the boost you used on Xander, I used that on Viktor Hovland to get him up from 18 to 21, and I got Xander at 20 on PointsBet earlier. So yeah,
Nice.
Viktor Hovland, man, I've mentioned it's almost like he is kind of getting close to what Xander was, like knocking on the door in his last three majors, was in the final group with Rory at the Open Championship last year, was inside the top 5 at Augusta, really close, and went head-to-head with Brooks Koepka at the PGA Championship. Since then, obviously, won his big breakthrough victory at Jack's Place with the Memorial Tournament a few weeks ago. I think, man, Viktor Hovland and his ball shaping ability, the way that he can shape it out there, and the way that he can attack pins, and the way that he plays difficult holes too, man, is something that's very impressive to me. We saw it at Memorial where he birdied 17, a hole that no one really was birdieing, and that's what got him into that playoff, and he handled 18 remarkably well. The improvements in the short game, I think, are very huge for him, and I mentioned on the show yesterday, I didn't need to see him go out and win the Memorial, which he obviously did, but I needed to see another good Sunday on a very tough and difficult course, because the week prior, he was in a similar situation at the Charles Schwab and absolutely fumbled it. Seeing him come through on Sunday with his back against the wall when he needed to birdie 17, the improvements around the green, I'm taking my chances on Viktor Hovland this week, but because I have 3 guys so early, that really does limit me the rest of the way, Joey.
Do you have any? You have a long shot for sure, longer.
I have 2 more things in right now, and that's why I think I'm probably only going to have 5 bets this week. It's going to be hard for me to squeeze in a 6th.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going that high up, I totally get it. But why wouldn't you in the major? Did we bring up? So there's 3 names. Well, actually 4 names in this range. One of them I got at 35 to 1. But 4 names I kind of want to talk about with you.
For sure.
So Tyrrell Hatton, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, and Cam Smith. And they're all in that 30 to 1 range on BetRivers using the enhanced odds. But I think Max Homa. So I know you actually said you were fully out on him on yesterday's show.
I'm out.
So I'll start with Homa because I got him at 35 to 1 and I did bet on him. 4 of his 6 wins have come in Cali. Runner-up to Jon Rahm at Riviera Country Club. That's just a ride down the road from where they're going to be this week. Hasn't fared all that well in majors, this year, even with the 2 victories overall. Still 17th in strokes gained tee to green, 6th in strokes gained total, 12th in approach, 5th in strokes gained putting. I think that's a lot there that he can work with that can really – he could really produce this week, and I think it's a good number. I think 35 to 1 for a guy that a lot of people were talking about as a top 5 golfer in the world at earlier this season, right? So when he rattled off a couple victories, when he was up there with Rahm in that tournament, I think people were really talking about him making that leap into like a top 5 type of territory or top 10, whatever. I think 35 to 1 is a good number for Max Homa. And I guess we'll start there because there's the other guys I want to talk about. But if you do have reasons why are you not on home? I know you do probably have obviously your reasons why, but is it a trust factor? Is it a course fit, something that you've seen? Like, I don't know.
I just personally, it's really just the major track record, right? Like it's not even that he doesn't have good finishes. He doesn't have any like even being close to being in contention. And I also don't love where his irons. I also don't love where his irons are at right now. He's lost in 3 of his last 5 starts. To be fair, when he did gain with the irons in those 5 starts, he produced 2 top 10 finishes. But I still just I think you can like I did with Rahm, you can buy into the California native with Max Homa. I'm just personally not considering how much of a struggle it's been for him in major championships so far in his career. They're just guys I like far more. And I honestly, not to disagree with you, I don't like the number.
Do you want it like, would you bet if it's like 60?
If it was 50 or 60, I'd think about it. If it was 50, I'd start to think about it. But I'm not going to bet him in this range when he's there with Colin Morikawa, who's won 2 majors. Cam Smith has won a major, and he's won a big boy event. And Tyrrell Hatton has arguably been the best player in the world without a win this year.
Yeah, Hatton's been – all right, so let's talk about them. And I totally understand that because he doesn't have a good majors track record, like at all. I mean, he didn't miss a cut this year, did he? Did he miss a cut in one of the majors? He was like close to it, I think.
I just had him up. I know he finished 55th at – he finished T43 at the Masters and T55 at the PGA.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, so I don't blame you there. Cam Smith, Morikawa, and Hatton. So Hatton, he's improved just about all aspects of his game. I mean, well-rounded, long and accurate off the tee. Like, yeah, I mean, we talk shit about him when he has his antics and stuff, but like, I'm kind of interested. I haven't bet him, but I'm curious if you're getting there. I know you're pretty limited on your card, but what do you think about Hatton?
Yeah, man, it's just tough. Hatton's a really tough one because he's been playing so well, and like Xander Schauffele, like he's been doing it really in all areas, and the putter has been on fire for him, like it's been for Xander as well. It's just it's so hard to bet a guy in Tyrrell Hatton at 30-1 in a major championship. Would it be surprising if he won? No, I don't think anyone would be surprised, but his last PGA Tour victory came before COVID. Like, it's been that long. And I'm not saying he can't do it. Like, Matthew Fitzpatrick last year didn't have a PGA Tour win before breaking through at the country club. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Tyrrell Hatton won. I'm just not going to get there in an outright win. I think he's a really solid, like, DFS player. Maybe even we should just start taking him in, like, top 5, top 10 bets because he's been cashing those in all the big tournaments, but hasn't won one yet. So
that's where he goes.
It's kind of my troubles with Hatton.
That's where he goes.
Betting him to win is very tough.
Yeah, there's going to be some inevitable meltdown at some point.
It's either he's in contention on Sunday and doesn't have his best game, or he had a mediocre Saturday and then he's firing on all cylinders on Sunday and backdoors his way into 2nd or 3rd place.
Yep, I totally agree with that. So, I mean, I could see him winning. I can't see him winning, but I can see him winning because of how well he's playing, if that makes sense. That's what makes him so difficult.
For sure. 100%.
So, yeah, so Cam Smith and Morikawa. I'm betting Colin Morikawa this week.
He's probably he is the one of the two that, or anyone in this range that I'd be most inclined to bet and thought about the most this week. It was for sure Colin Morikawa, given how he is accurate off the tee and will be one of those benefactors from the firm fairways and how they roll out, and distance not being as big of a factor or being the end all be all. Hits a ton of greens in regulation, obviously. And his putter in majors actually has not been as bad as people think and as bad as he's putted historically throughout his career. So, yeah, if I were to choose one, it would probably be Colin Morikawa. I have some concerns about Cam Smith, like being a wayward driver. I don't know if exactly – there's 2 ways it can go with Cam Smith, I think. He's going to be wayward off the tee and he's going to miss the cut, or he's going to be lightning and amazing on these greens and he's going to be in contention. But I do think the first option there is certainly in the deck of cards for him. And I also heard there might be something going on with his neck right now, or maybe a wrist, I think.
Oh, shit. I didn't see that.
I saw something. It might not be real. I saw it on Twitter today that he might be dealing with a wrist injury. So a couple of different reasons I'm out on Cam Smith. I'm really not even a huge Cam Smith backer. And I think for me, it's just because when you're betting on Cam Smith, you're asking for the high-end putting performance. And you're asking a lot out of Cam Smith. Now, he's shown that he's plenty capable of doing that. But betting on guys' ceilings and to have one of the best weeks of their career is hard, whereas opposed to John Rahm, if he just does what he's been doing, he should be in contention come Sunday. I think Cam Smith needs to putt the lights out in order to have a chance to win. Can he do it? Yeah, but I'm just not going to bet on it at 30-1. So Morikawa is the one for me who's the most interesting for sure.
Damn, it's so tough, man.
And he's someone who, unlike Tyrrell Hatton, maybe he hasn't been in contention as much and not really at all in the last year, but earlier on in his career, when he was in contention, he wins. It's kind of the opposite.
Oh, Morikawa can close, yeah. Morikawa, no problem closing when he's there. I mean, yeah, you'll get some top tens where he doesn't close, but he can close. Like if he's right there, he's closing.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this dude. So yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I think the problem is that Cam Smith did not have his best at the PGA Championship, and then he had his best round and then finished T9. And the problem is like, can he put that together for a full 4 in a tournament like this where we don't know exactly how the course is going to play it, and then you're just going to rely on that putter. He's not just a putter, but his accuracy does scare me. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, you mentioned that, yeah, one of the best putters on earth, and he's the guy that kicked off this stretch for me. So, like, I kind of feel like, why not cap it off with him? 4 straight majors? I don't know, but I'm so on the fence with him. I did bet Morikawa 6th in driving accuracy. Obviously, the iron play, 2nd in approach, 5th tee to green. It's the around the green and putting that does always scare me with him. So, but you said it. I mean, the PGA Championship, he looked pretty good putting, right? Like, better anyways. Like, I don't know. So we'll have to see on that front. But outside,
he gained on the greens at PGA Championship. He was a positive on the greens at the PGA, which is encouraging for Morikawa backers.
Yeah, it's encouraging, man. If he can just be positive,
doesn't have to be a lot. Or even if he loses half, and that's the same argument I'll get into with Corey Connors in a second. If he just loses half and ball strikes the way he should, he'll be fine.
Dude, those irons totally play here. Like in any major. In any major. So, yeah, man, Morikawa, I'm very, very – I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for Morikawa this week. Outside of that, though, any other thoughts here in this kind of area before you move down? Because I did not bet anybody else in this area.
I've been seeing, understandably so, a lot of love for Jordan Spieth this week. If he was, I was thinking about him at 35, but there's no way I get to him at 25, especially with the card that I have. But I get it. I get the Spieth love this week.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to bet Spieth, I think this would be the tournament. I don't know. This would probably be the tournament that I would do it. I'm just not going to. I think there's a lot circling around Spieth right now where I just don't trust it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Spieth. I think Finau, he was a guy that was popping up in a lot of the stuff that you were talking about with the leaderboards as far as course comps go. So now I'm thinking a little bit harder about Finau, and I wasn't really there before this show. So are you betting Finau? Or are you kind of thinking about it?
He's like the last decision. He's like the make or break 5 or 6 man card. It's Tony Finau. Man, if I could somehow catch him at 50, I see him as big as 40 right now. That's still not even terrible odds. I'd probably like to see it at 50 though, if I'm going to bet it. But yeah, I know Finau hasn't been putting great as of late, but I do think the West Coast and these surfaces favor him. I do think he quietly has a really good around the green game that doesn't get talked about enough. And this is a place where he can unleash that driver of his. And the irons have still been really good despite the consistency not being there the last few weeks. So Finau's, I like Finau. It's going to be a make or break decision on him. If I had to guess right now, he's probably not going to make it in there, but he is for sure the one that's most intriguing to me out of this like 40 to 60 pocket here that I haven't bet.
Yeah, the only other names I'll mention, Justin Thomas, because his number is so damn big. And then Jason Day, if he did not, like you told me, switch his irons, I would like him a lot here. And not just because I'm a big Jason Day guy. He seems like a great course fit here. He really does. A lot of the stuff I keep going to, the short game, the iron play that he's had all season, a lot of the stuff, man, he would be terrific, I think, here at this course. And maybe the irons don't matter as much. So that kind of, now I'm second guessing a little bit, not betting him, because I will feel like shit, dude. I'm telling you right now, if he wins and it's because he switched his irons that I didn't bet him when he's just in a zone this season.
It could be. And his name was one of those that popped up a lot on those comparison courses that I was going through at the beginning of the show.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You kind of drew me right there.
That's a toughie for you personally. I know.
So Hideki, though, you like Hideki this week. Talk to me about Hideki.
I do really like me some Hideki this week. I think Hideki has had a very odd season, and it's been one that has had a lot of conversations about a nagging neck injury, and earlier on in particular, he wasn't as consistent, but we're starting to see some life from Hideki Matsuyama. He's finished inside the top 31 in 7 consecutive starts inside the top 30 and 5 in a row, was leading the Memorial Tournament on Saturday. He was actually at 9 under, which was greater than the winning score before he kind of melted down on Saturday and Sunday. But I still think Hideki has been flashing some really good upside here as of late. And even for kind of the roller coaster ride that it's been for him, I think taking a look at his numbers so far this season, they're a lot better than most people would expect. He's 6th in scrambling, 8th in around the green, 21st in strokes gained total, 21st in tee to green, 30th in approach, and over the past 24 rounds, he's 13th in that stat in approach. And he also has an incredible U.S. Open history. He's only missed the cut one time. He's been in contention a couple others, finished T4 here last year. And one thing about Hideki that I always make sure to kind of keep in mind is what putting surface is it? And bentgrass is the surface that you want Hideki Matsuyama on. It's really the one part of his game that's kind of plagued him his entire career, has just been a hot and cold and inconsistent putter. But it's well documented that he does his best work on bentgrass greens. 4 of his 8 career wins have come on bentgrass, and they're giving me a 55-1 number on Hideki Matsuyama. And it almost like, to me, suggests that he's playing worse than he is. The ball striking's still been good. The off the tee game's been good for the most part. I mentioned 6th on the tour in scrambling. Do most people even think Hideki Matsuyama is a short game wizard? Like, very underrated part of his game. So for me, the 55-1 that's out there on Hideki Matsuyama right now is a phenomenal number. So he's the only one that I've officially bet from this range group, but there are some intriguing names if you want to go through any of them, or if you want to ask me some questions on guys.
Yeah, I mean, no, the putting surface, like you just mentioned about Hideki, and with the stats to back it up, the well-rounded, outside of that, I think the putter kind of makes you questionable, but if you're talking about him being, where does he succeed the most? I don't know. That's a very good point there on Hideki. I totally get it.
I think Hideki's my favorite bet this week. I love that number. I actually can't believe that number.
55 is kind of crazy. Like, I'm used to like 35 Hideki.
He's got the same number as Ricky.
Yeah,
he's got the same number as Ricky.
Ricky ain't even coming close this week. I can tell you that much right now.
I love that number on Hideki.
Ricky, and neither is Cam Young, dude. Cam Young's not been good lately.
Terrible.
What is he 55-1 for?
Terrible.
He should be in the 80-1, like Wyndham Clark. Yeah, let's skip down. I don't even know. Do you have Sun J.M. or any of these dudes in here?
No, there are some good odds for these guys though. Like I think a 66 on Shane Lowry is a good number. Even the 66 on Scott and Sung Jae. Sam Burns is kind of like basically him and Max Homa are like the Spider-Man gifts pointing at each other at major championships. They're both just dog shit at them. But 70-1's a really good number, I think. Like there are some good numbers down here. But before we get to 100-1, there were two guys in particular that stood out to me. I unfortunately only have the room to bet one of them. Corey Connors and Wyndham Clark were the two for me that were the most intriguing. Wyndham Clark has just been dynamite, and the putter is rolling. He hits the ball a long way. The approach numbers have been great. I believe, I think, was it the Charles Schwab where he missed the cut? Let me pull up Wyndham Clark real quick because he had
He was cut at the PGA Championship.
Yes, so he missed the cut at the PGA Championship after winning the Wells Fargo, and everyone was probably like, oh, what a run Wyndham Clark had. And then he goes and finishes T12 at the Memorial and he gains across the board there.
Mm-hmm.
The around the green has improved dramatically during this run of his. I do have a little concerns about his accuracy with the driver, but I still think Wyndham Clark 80-1 on this enhanced offer here at Bet Rivers is one of the best numbers out there. Unfortunately, I just love me some Corey Connors a little too much, so that's where I had to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's your boy.
It's my boy.
That's your boy. I did bet Wyndham Clark, or I'm going to bet Wyndham Clark. One of the two. I got to check my actual slips. But yeah, 80-1. I do love that number on Wyndham Clark. I mean, guess who's 10th in FedEx Cup standings right now? A lot of that's due to the win, but Wyndham Clark. You mentioned the Memorial and then him being cut at PGA Championship, but then bouncing right back immediately. 4 top 10s in his last 8 tourneys. And very balanced. Like you look across the board with his stats. Yeah, the accuracy is a little bit of an issue, 158th there. And that's really plagued him, I think, as far as driving. But across the board, he's very balanced as far as stats go. And that's what we're looking for. So, yeah, I'll go against the driving accuracy key stat to look for when it comes to Wyndham Clark. Because, yeah, would it be nuts to see him win a major? He just got his first win. But, dude, when you're rolling, sometimes you're just rolling. So 80-1, I'll take a shot there. Looking here, too, in this kind of similar range, there's a name I want to bring up to you.
There's a name I wanted to bring up as well.
All right. Well, what you got first?
Russell Henley is quietly playing awesome.
Stop it.
I'm not going to bet him. I'm not going to bet him. I don't have room for him, but I'm not kidding. Russell Henley has been dynamite.
Yeah,
quietly. Super quietly. He missed the cut at the PGA. He had kind of it's the only one of 3 tournaments that he's lost strokes putting this season. It was by far his worst putting performance of the year. Other than that, take away the PGA Championship, and he's been inside the top 20 in 6 consecutive events. 6 of his last 7, including the PGA Championship. Been inside the top 20, gained every week with approach, gained every week except for when he does lose around the green, it's 0.01 and 0.03, and has been really good with the putter. And he's accurate off the tee. I think Russell Henley's live. I really do.
The models love him.
Yeah, and he's in Hollywood, baby. You know he's going to come walking out with some fucking doves flying out of the limo and shit and all white and just have 2 fucking smokes around both of his arms because models just love Russell Henley, baby.
Oh my god, dude.
Hollywood.
The literal, actual models and, statistical models both love Russell Henley.
Hollywood Russell Henley, baby. Let's get it going. Hollywood Henley.
No, man, I get the point behind it. I thought you were going to say Denny Mac, and then I was going to be like, dude, please, dear God.
I think Denny's live too, but
I know you do.
I'd rather back Russell Henley than Denny.
I would absolutely back Henley over McCarthy. As far as an outright goes, yeah. I think Henley actually has a shot.
Who's the name you got?
Well, Mito, obviously, because he ball strikes like a MFer.
Mito.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Still this is the final pick show, and I still don't know if I'm gonna do that. But.
Let's ride Mito first round leader tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I would prefer to do that. Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Let's ride Mito first round. And
first round leader.
This way, at least I'm the good co-host here, because when I make first round leader bets, I tell people and just don't bet Cam Young 40-1 and leave my co-host in the fucking dark.
Dude, why did you bring that up?
While you rack up the Open Championship, you stomp on my fucking dreams on Thursday, and then you have Cam Smith who chases down my Rory outright and just take all the money and leave. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
It was bullshit. It was a dick move on my part. I'm not gonna lie. But it was a last minute decision. The first round leader was a last minute. In fairness, it's not
tomorrow
fair.
though. Mito tomorrow though. Lock it in.
All right, so you're telling me this, and then now you're gonna return the favor and like bet Russell Henley first round leader, right?
That might happen too. Honestly, that sounds kind of good.
Get the fuck out of here. All right, so the other name I wanted to bring up was actually Patrick Reed for the short game. I think the short game here can kind of play. But I'm not betting him. But 100-1, man.
Good odds.
Like, what do you think about Patrick Reed this week?
Always live at difficult tournaments, baby. Like, that guy can not kidding. He's the best scrambler in the world when he's on. It's been some time since we've seen Patrick Reed at that like peak level. I think his last big win was the Farmers a few years ago, where he also got caught cheating. But the short game is phenomenal, man. No one can get around with that short game like Patrick Reed can. I always feel like I'm off on Patrick Reed, like similar to Colin Morikawa. Whenever I bet him, it's like one of the majors where he misses the cut, and then I don't want any part of him, and he's back in the top 10. Well, I wouldn't be shocked. I think it's a good odds for Patrick Reed. There's no way he should have the same odds as Keegan Bradley and Minwoo.
No, not in a major.
No.
Sorry. Minwoo's actually a really good course fit here. Just looking at like the Data Golf Fit models. But I mean, it's a model. You know what I mean? Like, you actually have to factor in real life. Like,
Russell Henley.
He ain't Russell Henley. He ain't actually popping out with models, hopping out of, like. So no, I can't go with Minwoo. Yeah, anybody from like 100-1 to 200-1, like that just piques your interest, or just because there's guys in here that I don't know if it's 100 to 200. I actually have to look at the list now. I didn't get anywhere until possibly the 200 range, but wow, they have like barely anybody on the enhanced odds from 100-1 to 200-1. It's like all like just skip to 200-1 and up.
That's why, because they want your money. They know they can give you great odds on these guys because they're never gonna fucking win. Like Billy Horschel's 500-1. He's got the same odds as Sam Bennett. Billy
Horschel's just a wreck. Wreck. Sam Bennett actually I could see that over Billy Ho right now. Definitely. And I don't even see that happening, but I'll mention the names that I have, I guess. That I don't have. Chris Kirk Kitayama, and where's the other name? Eric Cole, 250-1. Those are the names that I kind of, and we did talk about yesterday, that being one of our props. Eric Cole, I think it was a top 40, right?
Yeah, plus 130. One of the only props I have.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Eric Cole, Chris Kirk, man, 11th in strokes gained around the green, 35th in strokes gained tee to green, 22nd in total driving efficiency, coming off a couple missed cuts, so that's not great, but has the win at the Honda Classic, obviously, which thank you, Chris Kirk. He's showing up in the majors, considering the rank, too. T23 at the Masters, T29 at the PGA Championship. So he's got a little pedigree this season. Chris Kirk, I don't actually see him pulling out the victory, but totally in for a top 40, too, for Chris Kirk. So that's another prop bet that I'm going to make, is a top 40 for Kirk. And that type of odds, man, I actually saw him 300-1 on a book. So what is he here? I saw him 300-1 somewhere. So I would look for that, but 200-1 is not bad either. I don't know. What are you thinking here in the very, very long range? Are you on $5 holler?
I'm not on Justin's. If it was a one-round tournament, I'd do it. I will tell you the best number out there. It
can be a one-round tournament. You can do the first round leader, Jack.
Could be. Might be part of the card tomorrow. I'll tell you the best number out there is Victor Perez 300-1. And I guarantee you probably don't know who he is. Most people watching the show do not know who he is. He is a stud over on the DP World Tour, and legitimately, probably not anymore because of the news of the potential merger between Live Golf and the PGA Tour. But Victor Perez legitimately has a chance to be on the Ryder Cup team because he's been that good over in Europe. Here are his finishes so far this year. He won the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship, T28. I'm just listing off his results in his past 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 starts. Here are his results: a win, T28, T13, T45 at the Valspar, T31 at the Match Play, T13 at the Zurich Championship, T9 at the Italian Open, T12 at the PGA Championship, and he missed the cut last week at the Kenya Open. But still, an incredible run for Victor Perez for a guy who's 300-1. I think that's worth a flyer. Like, put $2 on it. It's ridiculous odds for a guy who's legitimately one of the best players on the DP World Tour.
I feel like you brought up his name before the PGA Championship too, right?
It was I think it was the Valspar. I think
maybe it was Valspar.
I think it might have been the Valspar back in March because he's a known DP World Tour guy. Like, if you keep up with the DP World Tour, you know who he is. He won the Dutch Open last year as well. Like, a guy who can win tournaments.
Yeah, that would be nuts if he won.
I think I'm going to put $1 on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely probably got a better shot than, let's look at the rest of the people in that range. Like, I can tell you right now, I want no part of Lucas Herbert. So, like, yeah, there's definitely people in this area. That Andrew Putnam, like, I don't see that happening.
Francesco Molinari, 750-1. How the mighty have fallen.
Oh, he's really fallen. Yeah. What's the rest of, just looking down here?
Ugly. Bet on Padre.
Disgusting. Do I know anybody else's name from 1,500-1 and down? There was a name yesterday I think I mentioned that was like crazy.
Oh yeah, who was it again?
I'm trying to see now. Maybe they don't have it on the enhanced, but it wasn't Martin Kamer. He has a win, U.S. Open win.
Martin Keimer's a legend.
Yeah. Who else?
Was it Omar? Was it Omar Morales?
No, absolutely. I don't know. No, it wasn't.
I don't know who it could be.
It wasn't Stewie Sink either. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not gonna find it at this point. But that's fine. Wow, the Mac Daddy, Mackenzie Hughes. What is he? 5,000-1? 500-1.
5,000-1.
That'd be nuts, dude. I'd auto bet that. 500-1 is still nuts though for Mackenzie Hughes.
That is.
$1 would get you 500. Yeah, I mean, not gonna do it. But anyways, Jack, prop bets. We got to get there. If you have prop bets, I just have the two top 40s so far.
Yeah, I got 2. I got Eric Cole plus 130, and then top 20, I have Wyndham Clark plus 230. That's my way of getting some action on Wyndham Clark because I'm selfish and have to bet Corey Connors.
I like it.
I am for sure going to be in the first round leader market tomorrow, though. And I'll throw out some names for the sake of throwing names. I'll message you like a good co-host and let you know what the final card is. But
you're nicer than I am.
I'm pretty sure it's going to have Tommy. That's probably my way of getting in on Tommy. Mito 75-1. I like that.
Squad ride.
I like Henley, Mito, and Tommy, and maybe one other guy. And they might each have like $5 on them. See if I can start this tournament off right and take my fat ass to like McDonald's if they want.
I think you said Denny Mac, wasn't it? Or was it Henley before that? But like when we were just talking a minute ago. Was it Henley you said first?
It was Henley. Yeah. 80-1. I kind of like that.
Yeah. I prefer that than an outright on Henley. So yeah, I mean, we're squad riding Mito. I don't know if I have not really been betting too many first round leaders lately. I
don't know why it's got me by the balls right now.
Yeah, it's just so tough for me, dude. I always see like these randos at the top after the first round. I'm like, you know what? That's where I kind of just gave up on it because like you can look at all this first round scoring stats in the world and none of it's predictable.
For real.
So it's like, yeah, go fuck yourself. But
it's luck of the draw.
It's a major. So like, yeah, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it this week. So Yeah, props. Eric Cole top 40, Chris Kirk top 40, Mike Dukirk Kitayama top 40. Not sure yet. Do like some Kitayama. Those three, I think, right now don't have any like real head to heads. But do you have any like nationality props? Because I didn't even look yet.
Nah, I got nothing. Nationality's been overtaken by the first round leader.
That's been taking up your bankroll lately.
Yeah, it has.
You're chasing, man. You're chasing. But if you hit it, though, it pays off in a big way. So I get it.
Be a great Thursday afternoon.
Double up, baby. Double up. Yeah, let's go. What do we have next? I don't have any head-to-heads yet. Let's do. Yeah, we have to do one and done. What do you got, Jack? It's you. You're up, and we're doing. Tell the people what we're doing this week.
Yeah, we got a double up this week. So whoever has the player that finishes worse gets double the amount of points, since we weren't able to do one for last week's RBC Canadian Open. I referenced this on the show yesterday, and probably hurts your feelings that I'm taking him. I am still in first place, but for the first time this year, you could be in the lead after the U.S. Open if you win. So you're right on my tail. It's turned into quite a chase here down the stretch of the season, which I'm very happy about, because it was ugly there, not going to lie, for a little bit. But, man, you've been clawing your way back. You got a couple of wins in the one and done. John Rahm obviously got you a huge win. Chris Kirk got you a win as well in the one and done. So those are massive victories, brother. Interested to see who you're going to go with this week, because I know I'm taking one of your guys here in Xander Schauffele. I've been saving him. I've been saving him for the U.S. Open. It makes too much sense for multiple different reasons. Super consistent in U.S. Opens. Hopefully I'm not jinxing him here, but a super, super high floor. So yeah, I'm going with Xander Schauffele.
Wow. Well, that was going to be my pick, so now I gotta
that stinks, man.
Recalibrate a little bit. Who is out of the top two golfers on the outright board? Who have I not taken? I took Rahm. So have I taken Scotty? I don't think I have.
No, you elected not to go with Scotty Scheffler at the PGA Championship and went with Cam Smith, who backdoored you that top 10 with the round of the day on Sunday. So you got Scotty available, man. This is damn good spot to use him.
That was lucky as shit. So you know what? This time I'm not going for luck. I'm going with the favorite. I'm not betting him. This is the way, kind of like you were talking about with Wyndham Clark, getting a little exposure, taking that top 40. Let's go with Scotty Scheffler in the one and done. It's just a safe bet.
I got to say this. You are probably in the 5 to 10% in the world of people who do one and dones that haven't burned Scotty Scheffler yet.
That's crazy to me.
There's been so many places to use Scheffler throughout this run. I mean, you could have used it at the PGA. You could have used him at the Masters. You could have used him at the Players. You could have used him in Phoenix. You could have used him. I used him at, where did I use him? I used him at the Arnold Palmer. He was T4 there. Like, there were lots of spots early on in the season. So credit to you for not burning Scotty Scheffler yet. But after
but it's not a great strategy, really, because if you think about it, if I would have used him much earlier, I'd probably have a much better score at this point. But
hey, you used Rahm at the perfect time at the Masters, came with a victory there, and that's really what got the ball rolling for you, because I had Rory. You beat me by 161 points at the Masters. That really set you up nice.
You let me in the door, though, by doing that's where we started the double. I think double points, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and majors have not been good to me. I had Rory miss the cut at the Masters, and I had Rahm finish 50th at the PGA.
That was shocking. The PGA was shocking to me.
And I actually thought I was going to come out fine, because Cam Smith was like T40, T50 going into the final round, and then shoots like 66.
I thought you were going to beat me that week.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled.
Like throughout the tournament until the last round, I'm pretty sure you were up on me. So
it's turned into a bit of a struggle for me here in the one and done. My last 4 have been Kuchar 43rd at the Byron Nelson, Rahm 50th at the PGA, Jordan Spieth 73rd at the Charles Schwab, and Patrick Cantlay 30th at the Memorial.
Yeah, well, that means this week you're about to turn up some shit, because
I'd love that.
X gonna give it to you. He gonna give it to you. X gonna give it up in here. I'm ready to, dude. I'm ready to next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we decide to do our next show for the preview next week, I'm ready for party up in here. Like I might just like bring a little, those little mini pill speakers or something. Like I might just take it over here. So I don't want to take up the screen or anything like that. And I actually want it to sound pretty good. I might just put it over here and just blast it through the mic because it sounds way better than my singing. So why not just do that? Hopefully he gets the outright. I'm rooting for you in the one and done this week because I want the outright too. Oh,
this is probably illegal, so I'm going to stop. But
that's how Rough Riders roll. Yeah, it probably is illegal. That said, sorry. Credit to DMX.
Yeah, not our money.
Free promo, and shout out to OnTap Bets because this is a part of that too as well. We are Golf on Tap. We are part of the OnTap Sports Network. Go ahead and follow at OnTap Sports on all social media platforms. You can follow us at OnTap Golf. You can follow Jack at Jack Bushman 2. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. And then go to betrivers.com, enter the promo code OnTap to get an up to $250 deposit match. We are sponsored by BetRivers. Yeah, man. What do you say? I mean, like, do we have any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this puppy up and look forward to the third major of the season starting tomorrow morning?
I'm so stoked for this thing to get underway. Contemplating going and getting like a hearty American breakfast at like a diner tomorrow and starting off the U.S. Open with a nice little like American breakfast, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be a very fun tournament. Very excited to see LACC finally in action. And would love to keep the momentum going in these major championships, man, and get another win this week. Maybe even start off tomorrow with a nice little first round leader. Maybe our boy Mito can come through in redemption for you. It'll be nice. But all in all, super stoked for this one, man. We're really smack dab in the midst of golf season here, and nothing solidifies it quite like the U.S. Open. So couldn't be more excited for things to kick off tomorrow morning. And I do love me some West Coast majors because us in the Central Time Zone here get to chill for a couple more hours in the morning. It's all right. Listen, we don't got to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and get this major started. It's going to be nice. 8:30, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Absolutely love it. And works better late at night as well. So for many different reasons, I think the U.S. Open here at LACC is going to be remarkable.
Beautiful, man. I was about to make the joke until you just reminded me that it does start later. I was about to say, well, for that good, hearty American breakfast, you have to wake up early enough to be able to do that before work. And that's not me. But I still probably won't be doing that. But it's nice because when I get off of work, I'll still be able to watch some of this tournament. I think.
There you go.
So I won't have to like sneak around and like, oh, what's going on over here? Yeah, I'm doing work.
Couple extra bathroom breaks for sure in the cards always when the U.S. Open or a major is on television. It's like, listen, I got to take my seventh shit. I'm going to be in the bathroom for 10 minutes. Just deal with it.
Seventh shit.
It's just happening. It's a major. All right, get over it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, man. I'm constipated. What can I tell you? I'm just sitting here for 30 minutes. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what it was. Too much cheese, clogged the butthole. I don't know.
Yeah, well, your boss, you'll be prove it. Prove that I'm not constipated. Prove it.
Can't do it. Can't do it. You got laxatives you can give me? Otherwise, shut the hell up. Jack, great show as always. We'll be back next week. So with that being said, Alexander Schauffele is going to be your U.S. champion this season. I think we can both confidently say that, and we are never wrong on this show. So we will see you next week. Crack 'em, as always. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, wait, play that outro music. Crack 'em, lock 'em, fuck 'em, and we're out.